All right, here's somebody who disagrees with me. This is from Steve Hall, and he's from Tucson, Arizona. And he says, Dear G-Man, I listened yesterday to your tirade on John Dean with disappointment. While I admire loyalty, I believe honesty and personal integrity are to be valued above all else. Well, I don't know how you can use John Dean and honesty and personal integrity in the same sentence, but we'll continue. Now, the first two traits will keep one out of compromising situations, but if you fail yourself once, I see no reason to do it twice. Do you espouse situational ethics? Is honesty only for convenience? Is a character trait to be honest only when I'm being watched? Well, all of this assumes, you see, as part of his argument, that John Dean told the truth. And the fact is, John Dean, when he was testifying against his president and everybody else, was committing perjury, left and right. He says, I believe you do yourself much damage with this opinion. Many of us who share many of your views have great difficulty with abandoning the moral position in the name of protecting the well-placed, powerful people of this world. How will we ever achieve a higher standard of public servants if we don't hang some of them? The frustration from the masses is at fever pitch, and people are going to start doing what the courts refuse to do unless accountability and punishment is once again part of the equation. Lawless people must be removed from public office if we are ever to have public trust. Well, I don't have any problem with that. Please respond by fax. Well, I can't do that. This is a radio program and not a fax program. We will receive faxes, but I have to respond on the air. And he says, I may not want to air this issue. And he says, I'd be surprised at how many people agree with him. Well, I would be surprised, and I'm happy to air the issue. Here's the problem with what I was saying about John Dean. I distinguish between being a witness. You're walking on the street, you're a law-abiding citizen, and you see John the bad guy backing out of the savings and loan with a bag of swag and a pistol. And you subsequently testify and identify him. That's being a witness. It's another thing if you're driving the car and you're the partner of this guy and you testify against him and rat him out. It's one thing if you seek him. I see nothing courageous, honest, truthful, loyal, matter of integrity or anything else like that in seeking to lessen your punishment by ratting out somebody else. Most American couples do not raise their children to be tattletales and snitches. You know, little Johnny comes in and says, my sister was doing this and the other thing, you know, Mommy, go put her in the corner. The first thing that the parent will tell him is, look, you take care of Johnny, we'll take care of Sis. You don't come in here being a tattletale. That's not the way most Americans operate. And as for John Dean, he not only was not doing it out of honesty, integrity, or anything else, it was to save his lily white little ass, little punk. And he lied. Just read Silent Coup. He lied repeatedly. And he lied under oath, committed perjury. Is that what Steve Hall wants people to do? No, I'm happy to air that, Steve. And I disagree with you, sir, absolutely.
From Washington, D.C., Radio Free D.C. with G. Gordon Liddy.
And it is I, G. Gordon, and this is Radio Free D.C., the G. Gordon Liddy Show. And in this hour, we have a special treat for you. Regular listeners know that several times we have had a tremendously interesting guest. He is the famed Chicago homicide detective, JJ Bittenbinder. All 6'9", 430 pounds of him. Hair brown, distinguishing marks is a big handlebar mustache. And let's see. JJ, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I love talking to you, you son of a gun.
I like being here. I really do. I think you're one of the most intense people that I've ever met in my life, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
Well, it's a delight to be with you again, JJ. And I just want new listeners, because, we're now on, JJ, I think since your last appearance, you were on 160 different markets throughout the country, and many may not be aware of just who you are, but you are the recognized expert in assault and crime scene investigation, training and instruction. You were, I think, 16 years on homicide and violent crimes. You are right now a detective in the Violent Crimes Unit in Chicago. You've got all kinds of collars, as we say, in the law enforcement business. And one of the things and I say advisedly, only one of the things that you do is you go about the country providing a tremendous service, and that is to have ordinary citizens sort of harden themselves against people who would have them as their victims. You teach them street smarts, and you've been doing a tremendous job of that. And as a result, and JJ's appeared on all the big shows, Oprah Winfrey, Sonia Live, all of that sort of thing, Primetime Live. He's tremendously well known, ladies and gentlemen. And this program of his, which he started out doing, just out of the kindness of his heart, and because he sees people really hurt, and knows that had they had a little bit of street smarts and known what to do, they wouldn't be so hurt and so forth, that this thing has just sort of grown, and he now has videos and all the rest of it out to help folks. And more recently, you've been involving yourself in the location of missing children, child abduction, things of that sort. So JJ Bittenbinder is someone who for many years has gone beyond just the discharge of his duty as a law enforcement officer. He really takes it to heart, and he does everything he can to help people who are not even in his jurisdiction to protect themselves, to get back, or to find at least, what happened to people in these tragic child abduction things. JJ, what is the latest that you're doing to try to help people not become victims?
Well, I just did the Jerry Springer show, and that show was about children, and we were talking about what parents can tell children to make sure that they understand how the bad guy, how the goof, as I call him, is going to make this approach toward the child, and how we can empower our child, or our children, to say no, and why it's so important that we do that. The children that we have in this country are our most important asset. They're our hope for the future, and we've got to protect them. I mean, there's a fine line we have to walk between trying to make the child paranoid and protecting a child. Yeah. And if we're going to make an error on this, I would rather slide a little bit over to the side of being too protective than too loose. You don't want to play fast and loose with your children for their safety.
Kids are naturally inclined, if approached in a sort of friendly way by an adult, to believe an adult. And if an adult says, "Mommy sent me to pick you up," and things like that.
Well, see, even when you do role model things and you work through these things and you go through some of the lures that are used against children. Oh, I just lost my little puppy dog, or I just lost my little black and white cat. Won't you please help me?
Yeah.
It's down by the garage right over here. If the kid is empowered to say no immediately. See, one of the most important things we can do is empower the child to say no. If we can empower the child to say no to an adult, then the choice goes back to the child.
Yeah.
Especially in the area of forced affection where it concerns her own little person. See, because the father starts these things usually, and he starts these seeds, and we've got to stop this. But he doesn't mean to do it, but this is what happens. He says to this little girl, "Marianne, Grandpa's leaving. Go give Grandpa a big kiss." "Daddy, I don't want to kiss Grandpa." "Wait a minute now, little girl. That was a nice Christmas gift he just gave you. Now go over there and give your grandfather a big hug and a kiss." "Daddy, I don't want to kiss Grandpa. Grandpa's mouth smells funny." Hey, that's my father. Now you get in there and you kiss him." Well, the lesson that was just taught here, that this little, very young, impressionable child, is that it's okay for people to force affection on her, that that's the way it's supposed to be, that she has absolutely no control over the affection that's forced on her. But if we give the choice back to the child and the child is empowered, then when the little boy is 5 years old and Uncle Herman wants to take this kid into the other room to play that secret game, he's not going to go. And when the little girl is 15 and she's involved in a date rape situation, but she's tough, because all of her life, her mother and father have told her, this is your person. If you don't want to touched or kissed or hugged, then they don't touch it. No mixed signals, just straight up no. And she's tough. And all we've got to do is change one generation. And this girl will change the next one for us. And then we'll all have tough kids.
Yeah,
this is important stuff we do here.
It is indeed. It is indeed. And it's something that clearly it's helpful for you to be doing it beyond Chicago. And I know you've been justly praised for all the work you've done in Chicago, but now you're doing it nationally, and we all owe you a debt of gratitude.
Well,
and I owe you a debt of gratitude because, I have tough grandkids, and they make it stick when they say, I don't want to kiss Grandpa with his smelly old mustache.
Well, good for you.
How do you solve the smelly old mustache problem, JJ?
Well, I don't know. I drink a lot of beer.
All right. Okay. Now,
but it really works with this empowerment of the child. But as you go through the role playing and you go through these things with the child, where you teach the child to say no, because children are taught not to say no to these responsible adults, but you teach the child to say no, you have to remember that while you're teaching this child, that what you're doing right then, while you're going through these, is you're teaching the child to please the adult. Because the reason that the child is going to go through this and give you the responses that you want to hear is because the kid wants to please you. He doesn't know. But that's the same rationale we've got to worry about when he gets out there in the playground and this guy walks up to him, because he's going to want to please that guy too. Yeah. We've got to teach our children that they can say no when they want to. And we've got to tell them when the proper time is to say no. They don't do this because they're pleasing us. They're doing it for them. And we're not trying to make them paranoid. I teach this. It's like when you step off of a curb to cross the street, you'll look both ways. Even if it's a one-way street, you'll look both ways. But nobody stops in the middle of the block to look both ways because you don't need it. That's the same we do with these children. We should teach them not to carry these things around on like a big onus on their shoulders. I don't want to weave a mask of fear that they've got to look at life through. This is a wonderful place we live in, America. It is a nice place. And I'm not trying to make anybody fearful. And I just want these suggestions to come up right in front of the child's head when he needs it, the same as when he steps off the curb. He knows what he's going to do. That's exactly what I want to happen here. And we're not paranoid about walking off of curbs. It's just we know what to do. And that's the same rationale that I use when I try to teach the children. And I got to, and it is the message that's important. You know, it's not me that's important. It's the message. And the reason the message is so well received is because people are concerned.
Yeah. Well, they should be in today's world.
Oh, what used to, John Rhys Davies did the open on the promo tape. John, he was with Indiana Jones, and he was on the Untouchables. He did the opening of the promo tape, and one of the things he says, what used to happen across town now happens across the street.
Yeah.
And it's true. It doesn't happen to other people anymore. It happens to us. And if we want to do something, we're going to have to take some action. And that's one of the things that they are giving me my own television show that's going to start in the fall.
Tough target, right?
Tough target. We're going to do recreations, but instead of the empty feeling that you get at the end of some of these reality-based shows, we're going to do a recreation, and then we're going to stop and say, no, wait a minute. Right back here, when you saw this, this is what this means. This is the progression. This is what you can do right back here. And we're going to teach people how not to be victims and what they can do. So we're going to entertain them, and we're going to educate them at the same time, and they won't even know they're being educated. And then we're going to have several different things, but my favorite one is the one I'm going to get to do in the end. They're going to give me the last 30 seconds, and in this last 30 seconds, I'm going to do a thing called America's Most Stupid. Yeah, you got it. You know where I'm going with this. I'm going to talk about the guy who backs out of the 7-Eleven with a .45 in one hand and a bag of money in the other, and jams it in his waistband and shoots himself in the groin. I want to give names in real places to let these people, let the American people know that there are not Mensa card holders that are doing this robbery stuff, man. We're talking about guys who run around out there with hockey score IQs, and we can't beat them.
That's true. That's very, very true. Like the fellow who came in and burglarized the house, and he started eating out of the refrigerator, and he went upside, and he laid down and fell asleep, and the homeowners came over and called the police. There he was.
I'm going to tell you something. We're going to put an 800 number up there for 800 number for other police officers in other jurisdictions to call in with the America's Most Stupid of the Week.
And
we're going to put them on.
That's great.
We had one here very, very recently. High school was trashed. Okay, the high school was trashed. They took $50,000. They broke into the principal's office and trashed it, and they spray painted, and they went into the labs, and they broke up these two goofs. They took Polaroid pictures of themselves doing this, and then they left the Polaroid pictures on the scene. You know?
There you go.
It wasn't real hard to solve that one.
No, even I can solve that one.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, JJ, we're going to take some commercials, and when we come back, would you be willing to respond to questions from some of our listeners about how they can make themselves tough targets and how they can help their children?
Sure. I'm glad to do that.
Thank you, JJ. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to discuss these issues with JJ, and I recommend that you do. This is an opportunity that does not come along every day, and his television program hasn't started yet, Tough Target, so get a jump on it. Call 1-800-GG-LIDDY, or you can send us a fax, 1-800-937-GFAX, and you can discuss these matters with JJ Bittenbinder on the G. Gordon Liddy Show. We'll be right back.
Liddy Show continues.
And we're back here at Radio Free DC, the G. Gordon Liddy Show, with our special guest today, the star of stage, screen, television, and the homicide division of the Chicago PD, Detective JJ Bittenbinder. Well, JJ, as you might have expected, folks are all lined up wanting to talk to you, and we're going to be happy to accommodate them. Now, first up, is from Indianapolis, Indiana. It's Lucy. Lucy, you're on Radio Free DC with JJ Bittenbinder.
Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Lucy.
Pleasure to be on the show. Thank you so much.
What can I do for you?
Well, I'm a victim of petty crime. Smashed mailboxes, beer bottles through the windows, slashed tires, nasty phone calls.
Somebody's aching for a bruise, that's all I can tell you.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Is it the same person who's doing this to you?
I believe so.
Is it a neighbor?
Actually.
And is this somebody who has approached you for a date and has been rejected and is upset about it?
Yeah, unrequited love. Is that what this is called?
No, I don't think it's that. I think it's maybe they feel that I owe them something, and in all reality, I don't. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't understand what that means. But, you know, if you're being victimized...
Short, I common law lived with somebody, and he died.
All right.
And I buried him and paid all the expenses, and all the lawyers and everything were on my side.
Mm-hmm.
And I give the family what they ask for, a few weapons and such, and then they want everything that we require.
Well, this is the relatives of your former live-in?
Right. So now I'm married. So it's not an unrequited love thing. I think it's a get-back thing.
All right. Well, I think maybe you should seek some kind of legal advice from...
Yeah, but how much further do I go?
No, well...
I want to stop this petty crime.
Well, every time that they commit a crime or somebody commits a crime and you're not sure it's them, anytime anybody commits a crime, you report it. This does a lot of good for a lot of reasons. Number one, it allows you to document certain things that are actually happening to you, and every time the mailbox is ripped off or your mail is stolen or you have got a properly filled out police report to document that these things are...
Okay, that's been done.
Okay.
This has been going on for 3 years now.
All right, and then there's a repeated thing. If it's just you that's being harassed, there's a stalking law that they have in some states now that you don't have to be... It doesn't have to be a lot of personal contact. Could be telephone calls, could be anything. But what it is, it's for, if somebody is bothering you and you feel threatened by this individual person, then there are certain things you can do. And I don't know if your state has one, but I know my state does. And they're enacting these laws across the United States to protect the citizens from just what's happening to you. And I don't know if you've got that or not, but regardless, keep a record of what's happening and evidence that is gathered or whatever. If you're sure that somebody is making phone calls to you, there's a trap you can put on your phone that the phone company can put on your telephone. There's a lot of options open to you, but you've got to keep good records.
Yeah, I have been keeping a record, and once in a while, the local police department will misplace some of the things.
Well, no, what you do is you get a copy of all the documents, and you can get that. You can...
okay, and
you
check
get
on the stalking law.
Well, I don't know about the stalking
Yeah,
law.
well, if I...
But you get a copy. You can request copies of the case reports.
Okay.
And if you have an attorney who is working on some kind of a civil thing...
Yes, I've already had a...
well, there might be...
order.
All right, then you might be able to get some kind of, he might be able to subpoena the documents some way.
Okay.
So there are ways to do it, but I do want you to make sure that you have the counsel of an attorney to go forward with this, because I don't want you to go down the wrong road, and the further you go down the wrong road, the harder it is to go across.
Okay.
Okay?
So I will do that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank you,
bye-bye.
Lucy. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
calling. All right. JJ, we just got a fax in for your America's Most Stupid file. And this is from Lane Morgan from Columbus, Ohio. Now, listen to this one. I think you'll like it. Yesterday in Columbus, a man climbed into an unmarked police car and offered 2 uniformed officers crack cocaine for a ride. Needless to say, he got a ride. However, it was not the destination intended.
These guys were in full uniform?
Yeah, he says he begged one officer not to put in the report the fact that the officers were uniformed. He said he didn't want anyone to think he's stupid. Little late.
He's at least a little late. This guy is definitely a candidate. We can put him on the show.
That'd be great.
I mean, but you see what it is?
Yeah.
This is the kind of information that we've got to put out there because we want the American public to know that they've got a chance against these guys. Now, if these dope dealers are so powerful, how come they're crawling in the back of these squad cars and trying to sell dope to the uniformed officers? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
But it restores my faith in their goofiness, you know?
Yeah, you got that right. I'll tell you what, we'll save this fax for you. Maybe, John, why don't you see that JJ gets that? That's a classic. That's a beauty. Okay, we're going now, JJ, to Houston, Texas, and Jim is on his car phone for you. Jim, you there?
I am. I appreciate you taking my call. I'm probably an average size 50-year-old person who was raised in a fairly tough neighborhood, but being tough back in my neighborhood and being tough now are 2 different things.
Yeah, Jim, have you got your turn signal on or something?
I don't. It's just I guess bad connection.
No, it's our rotten equipment. That's what it is. Cheap station.
I'll state my case and then I'll get off and listen on the radio.
Sure.
I just wondered what kind of advice you would give some. I never was afraid in my life, but there are a lot of places I go today where I am, frankly. And whether taking some defense training
Well,
advisable at my age or...
Well, self-defense training is advisable if you remember that you're going into it for the sport of it and for the conditioning that it's going to give you. If you think that you're going to be able to take 2 classes and then come out there and be able to stand in the middle of 8 guys like Steven Seagal does and turn them all into peanut butter, that's not going to happen. What I would suggest that you do is... all depends on you. You're from Houston, Texas. They've got a firearms law in there, which is a personal decision that you've got to make based on the fact of whether you would use the pistol or not. But I would suggest if you won't or don't want to carry a pistol, obviously that is an option, and you are aware of it. But I would say that you should get a can of that pepper spray. Now, that pepper spray is one of the most potent stuff that you've ever seen in your life. That stuff works on drunks and narcotics users, and it works on animals, and it works better than the straight tear gas. They measure this stuff. They measure the potency of this pepper spray on a thing called a Scoville heat unit scale. Now, on the Scoville scale, Tabasco sauce is about a 100. Now, these pepper sprays are about 250,000. The one I've got in my car is 1.5 million. You understand?
You're talking my local Mexican restaurant. That's what you're talking.
You're talking about you're talking fire, man. And you're talking about squirting this guy in the face with this? I mean, it's over. He's going down. And if he's coming from behind, you squirt him right over your shoulder. I mean, you don't have to confront this guy. And you don't have to give him everything that you own. But on the other hand, you don't have to give up everything either. You can resist this guy. If he's trying to take you someplace, or he's trying to take your wife or your child into the car, you got to understand about this. the robbery, if he wants this money, just give him the money. The thing that I am most concerned about is getting into the automobile. We cannot get into these automobiles. We've got to learn this lesson, and they've sent masters to teach us. You know, John Wayne Gacy took 33 boys into the car. Ted Bundy took 45 women into the car. Jeffrey Dahmer took 17 into the car. Rifkin took 18 into the car. Wayne Williams into the car. This new guy in upstate New York, I don't know how many he's got into the car. But you understand, if they get into the car, they're not going to come back. The bodies of the women and the children and the men that are found in the forest preserves and in the woods every day by police officers across the United States, you know that these people were not walking through the woods when they were attacked. They were brought there, and they were brought there in a car. You can't get in the car. You know, here's another thing. You look at the bodies of these children, and you talk to the pathologists who perform the post-mortem examinations, and they'll tell you how the kids died. And you can tell by the marks on the little girl's neck. It's manual strangulation, means it was done with his hands, but they can tell that the little girl was laying on her back, looking up into the face of this bastard as he choked her to death. I don't want any other children to ever see that. We've got to stop him, and we can't let him get into the car.
Yeah, Jim, by the way, hit a bad sell, and he had to hang up. But I want to say one thing. You raised a good point, and that is the personal decision to take a firearm with you. You don't want to do that unless, as JJ says, you're willing to use it. And I'm going to give you a classic story about this. The first day on the job in the FBI, you know, starting out in training school, and we were handed a briefcase. It had the manual, rules, and regulations in it, and it also had a revolver. And he said, all right, everybody stand up, you know, and we all stood up. And he said, reach into that bag and take out that revolver and, you know, point it at the floor and open up the action, make sure that it's empty. And we all did that. And he said, all right, now, you know, shove the crane back and put everything back together. And we did. And he said, now hold it with the muzzle pointing directly at the ceiling, directly in front of your face. And just, you know, we all did. And he said, all right, now take the finger from your other hand and put it on the front sight. And, you know, we all did. We wonder what the hell's going on here. So but we all did what we were told. It was first day on the job, and, you know, we're going to do what we're told. And he said, all right, now is the time to tell us if you want us to file off the front sight. And there's always one in every class, you know. He raised it and he said, sir, why would we want to do that? And he said, I'll tell you why. Because if you ever point that firearm at somebody and you are not ready to kill him, he's going to take it away from you and shove it up your ass, and you'll be a lot more comfortable if you first file off the front sight. So
that's good. I knew where you were going.
You knew where I was going,
that's funny.
That's I swear to God, that is the front at the FBI. But the point was well made. You don't point a gun at somebody unless you're justified, ready, and willing to kill that son of a bitch.
When somebody pulls a pistol out and they hesitate with it, and most of the people do hesitate. In fact, you can tell who's going to hesitate by asking him. You say to him, "Well, if somebody came up to you and rob you, will you pull out your pistol and kill him?" And the length of time it takes from the end of your question to their response. Sometimes they go, well, yeah, I suppose. Or, well, you know, if I was really, you know, they put these conditions on it. If they don't say yes, they're not.
If they don't say in a heartbeat.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, see, now this woman or this man has pulled out this pistol, and they're holding this pistol. And what they've done is showed this goof something else that he wants. And he's going to come and take it from him, and he's going to take it, and he's going to pop him with it because he doesn't give a damn.
That's right.
He's going to do it.
Yeah,
so then we got an armed goof.
Yeah. What you need to do is, if you're going to do that, you know, be damn sure you're the kind of person that, you know, the minute the goof, you know, makes his move on you, boom. When you take it out, you shoot him at the same time. You know, it's one smooth motion.
Yes, and people think that
don't
it's
try
going
to
to be
save
like
money
in
on
the
ammunition.
movies,
Yeah, don't save any money on ammunition. You know, all 6 rounds, whap, 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 right into him.
If you know, in the movies, the guy pulls out a gun and everybody goes ooh and backs up. It doesn't happen that way on the street. And I tell people not to do that, not to carry these pistols because they won't use them.
Yeah.
They really won't.
But boy, if you know,
if you're one of these guys that is going to use a pistol, you've got a different look about you anyway.
That's
I mean,
right.
when you walk down the street, there's a little air of confidence. You walk down the street like you own it, You walk down the street like nobody's going to bother you. You've got a destination. Your head is up. You're looking around. You've got the mark of a predator. And predators won't pick on any predators. Now, that's like having an alarm system on your house or having the sign in front of your house. If there's two houses there and one says Brinks in the front of it and the other one does not, the bad guy is not going to go to the one that says Brinks in the front of it. He's not going to do that. And on the other hand, it's basically the same thing when you're walking down the street. You're walking down the street, your head up, you look tough. Yeah, the other one doesn't.
You got to have that look in your face as you're walking down the street that says, please, you son of a bitch, give me a good excuse to kill you, because I haven't killed anybody in a week and a half, and I'm starting to get that itch.
Yeah, well, that's the kind of look you have in your eyes, and since having met you, I know that's a good. You do have that look in your eyes. The look of it. No, you do. You have the intense look of a predator, and it'll hold you in good stead for your entire life, my friend.
Well, a woman in a radio station once said, "My God, he's got the eyes of a cobra." Okay, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a commercial break while you digest that and more, because there's a lot of people more that want to talk to JJ Bittenbinder, and I don't blame them. I love to talk to him myself. We'll be right back.
This is the G. You got it. The G. Gordon Liddy Show.
And we're back here at Radio Free DC with the G. Gordon Liddy Show with our special guest today, Chicago homicide and violent crime detective JJ Bittenbinder, who...
I'm going to, at the end of this month, I'm going to retire.
Are you?
I'm going to retire from the Chicago Police Department, and I have been recruited by the Sheriff of Cook County, and I am going to be out doing presentations for the Sheriff of Cook County, and I'm looking forward to a nice relationship with him.
Well, that's great, and you certainly have earned your retirement, JJ. There's no question about that. How many years on the job?
23 years on the job. Well, I figure if they didn't teach me in 23 years, and another 6 months is not going to.
There you go. There you go.
So I'm going to pull a pin, and I'm going to work for the sheriff and do a lot of senior citizen stuff for him and a lot of schools, and that's wonderful. It really is about the best thing to do, because I don't have the time to devote to a homicide investigation the way I used to do.
Right.
It's a very intense process, and you don't want to do it haphazardly. And
absolutely.
With other things on my mind, I think that this is one of the best decisions.
Well,
it's good for them and good for us.
Congratulations on your retirement. Congratulations
Thank you very much.
On your new hookup with the Cook County Sheriff, and congratulations on your new program, Tough Target.
And that's going to be a pretty good deal.
That's on Fox, isn't it? Fox TV?
Well, it'll be on Fox probably where you are. They're fighting for it in a lot of these markets. They're seeing who's going to give me the best spot, and I've got this is done by Mel TV, Chicago Mel TV. And
we know a guy named Mel. He's in radio too.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people that you know. In fact, I was at a place 2 days ago. I was eating a wonderful dinner in a place called Llewellyn's on the 19th floor of Harvey's Casino in Reno, and they told me that you were there.
Yeah.
And they were.
Don't say who I was with, please.
No, but they didn't tell me who you were with, but they tell me that you were intense that night too. So,
all right.
So you made some friends out there.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I did. They're good guys out there at Harvey's Casino. Denise W. McCauley has sent us a fax. She's from McKinney, Texas, and she said, "Could you please ask JJ about rape prevention? I think after your discussion with Bobby, who was a poor woman who." A guy got into her hotel room.
I heard the hairdresser, right?
Yeah, that's right. And he said after discussion with her, it would be great if he could tell women how to prevent this from happening to them. Specifically, please discuss how you can tell the difference between polite conversation with a stranger and when you actually are being pumped for information, and tell us what can be done if you goof up and let someone like that in your hotel room. Thank you for your wonderful show."
All right. First of all, when we talk about travel safety, there's a lot of prevention that we can do. There's a lot of things we can do to put us. First of all, when you pick a hotel, you want to make sure that the security of the hotel is focused on the guests.
Don't pick the Meridian Hotel in Vancouver, British Columbia. You're asking for trouble.
Well, see, some hotels have got good security, but they have it focused wrong. I mean, they've got a closed-circuit television camera hooked over the back door so they can catch the cook running out with a chicken under his coat. You know, that's not what good security is all about. Good security is about focusing on the guests to make sure that the guests are safe. And if you make the guests safe, they're going to feel safe, and then they are going to make sure that the reputation spreads just as quickly as this bad reputation about this hotel that you were talking about is going to spread.
Not only do they got bad security, but after the poor woman is raped, then the management
recommends the goof again.
Yeah, recommends again and insults her into the bargain. What a place.
Oh, you know, I'm sure the lawyers are standing in line to talk to this woman.
Yeah, I sure would be if I were practicing law.
Whoa, because that is a definite winner. But there's a certain thing we can do. Number one, now, when you walk up to the desk, a lot of the smart and proactive type of hotels won't even address you by your name. They won't say, okay, Miss Jones, you're in 402, and here's the key.
Yeah, right.
See, first of all, 402, when they say that, the number of the room is no longer, that's no longer acceptable. Second of all, they don't want to say Miss or any kind of a
indication to think
nothing at all.
She's alone, yeah.
Right, and you don't want to say the name. Okay? Right. Now, what they should do is hand you the little folder with a key in it, or with the electronic key, which is the best, you know, them slide-through keys or swipe keys. Mm-hmm. Those are the best. But they should hand this to you, and you open it up, and then she should point to the elevator and say, then the elevators are over there. And if you can't find 402, maybe you shouldn't be traveling alone, you know? I also like the duplication of the documents. I like them to make copies of all their documents, your credit cards, your driver's license, your passports. You make 3 copies. You keep one in your luggage in a different place where you carry your actual identification. You keep one at the home, and you give one to your secretary. And if your stuff is stolen, or you're marooned in a foreign country, or at least they can fax copies of your documents. Now, you might not be able to charge anything, but you can identify yourself. You can prove who you are, right. Which is basically the first thing you want to be. I'm an American citizen, and here's a fax copy of my passport. Okay. And then there's another process that goes along. I also like these safes that they're using in the rooms now. Mm-hmm. They have actual little safes that you put your stuff in and program your own number in it. It keeps it safe. And if there's not one of those, use the thing downstairs. I like watching flight attendants walk into... You ever watch a flight attendant walk into a hotel room? You ever see how they do that? They open the door and they put the bag down right by the door, holding the door open. And she takes one step in and she looks into the closet. Then she takes another step in and looks into the bathroom. And then she walks into the room. So she just doesn't walk in, let the door close, and now she's in the room, and the guy comes out of the bathroom, and he's between her and the door. Yeah. That's pretty smart stuff. I also like the peepholes that they've got in the doors, and people should use them. If somebody knocks on your door and you didn't ask for anybody to come up there, and this guy's not in some kind of a uniform, then you call down to the front desk and say, hey, there's somebody banging on my door, and I don't know what to do about this. You know, did you send somebody up to fix the air conditioner? Right. And if the guy says no, he said, well, you better send up your security, because there's a goof out here that's, you know... Right. And that's the way they should do it. And it's a lot of the new forward-thinking hotels, and I've been in a lot of hotels lately, have got the television set to when you turn the television on, it automatically comes up to a private channel that they have on that TV, and what runs over and over and over again is about a 5-minute safety tape that I guess they get from the Hotel Association that says these are the things you can do, and these are the features of our hotel, and these are the numbers you call, and they let the people know immediately as the guests move in, and they turn the television off, that, you know, we have a hotel here that is really, really secure, and we are dedicated to keeping you safe. Yeah. And, you know...
it all makes eminent good sense, and because we've only got 3 minutes more, I want to get another caller in. Don't be sorry, you've been giving out good information, but we've got, from Columbus, Ohio, Tara wants some more information. Tara, you're on Radio Free DC.
Hi, both of you. I have a question. I'm a 21-year-old female. I have a 1-year-old daughter, and I wanted to know how to make myself a more difficult target. I do carry pepper gas, like you said, and I've still just recently had my first kind of harassment incident by some teenagers at a mall. And since then, I'm really scared to leave. Today's a beautiful day, and I'm scared to take her to the park because I'm afraid that somebody's going to get her or get me, and I'm not that strong, and I'm really scared. And I wanted to know if you had any tips on making me a harder person to get at?
Well, we can make you a tougher target.
Okay.
You got to understand it's not how tough you are, it's how tough you look.
Okay.
Because he's not going to...
I don't know if I look very tough.
They're not going to interview the people to pick the victim.
Right.
It's the way they look. And a lot of it is not size. A lot of it is attitude. You walk down the street like with your head up, like you know what you're doing, and you don't, as you pass these people, you don't put your head down. You'll see that. You can stand on a corner someplace and watch men and women pass, and as they get close to one another, the woman drops her head. And that's a body language emblem for subservience. I don't want you to do that. You got to keep your head up.
Right.
But pay attention to the child. When you're putting the child into the car and you are into the back seat, bending over, you are in the most vulnerable position you'll ever be in.
Right.
You cannot hear because your head is in the car. Now, what you do when you're approaching the vehicle in the small parking lot that you were talking about, you don't identify your car until you get right up to it, and then you quickly get in there and put the kid in the car and lock the door, and you got your engine going, and then you buckle and belt and bolt and do all the rest of that stuff.
Okay.
But that's the way you have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And see, what he's going to try to do is get to you while you got that door open. He doesn't want to get you when you're in the middle of the aisle, and he doesn't want to get you while you've got that door locked and the engine running. He wants to get in the middle there, and that's when you're the most vulnerable. So the shorter you can make that time, the better. And if you hear a noise, stand up, and you got your spray in your hand, and if this goof is giving you some crap, you let him have it.
Right.
And if he just comes and he says, well, I really only wanted to know where Clark Street was, and then you say, well, it's okay, pal. I'll draw an arrow here in the dirt for you. When you wake up, you can find it, you know.
Okay.
But you got to be a little aggressive here.
Right.
You got to be a little strong because you're. I don't want you to be paranoid, and I don't want your child to be paranoid either.
Yeah,
Right.
you got to be like Mrs. Liddy when I come in late.
Okay. I get it.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're
welcome.
welcome, Tara.
Bye-bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, we've flat run out of time, and there's never enough time for JJ. JJ, I want you to promise that when you're in town next time that you'll come back. I particularly am looking forward to seeing your new television show. And unfortunately, all I can do now is thank you. Thank you very much.
I am happy to be on the show, and you do a good job here. You are the voice crying in the wind here, and a lot of times you're leading, and we really appreciate that as an American. I'd like to thank you.
Thanks, JJ. JJ Bittenbinder, Chicago's finest, and now Cook County's finest and America's finest. We'll be back again. That's a threat.
One last point that's unrelated to my campaign. I've been a big fan of yours ever since I was 10, if you can believe that. And I remembered hearing an interesting story about you during the Watergate affair. And I wanted to see if this is true. I believe I once read that you had stated to an individual when this whole affair was coming out that, look, if you need to take me out, tell me the time and the place in the street corner and I'll be there. Is that true? Was that a true?
Well, yes. I made the statement to John Dean on the Monday, the Monday morning of the situation. Now, bear in mind why I said that. I had in my head knowledge which could just wipe out the government, take the president right out. Mm-hmm. And I had assured my superiors through Mr. Dean, or at least I thought I was doing it through Mr. Dean. Mr. Dean was supposed to report all this back. It turns out he didn't for 9 months, but that's a whole other thing.
Right.
I said, look, even though I have assured everybody that I'm not going to talk, I recognize, the situation. So what I said to him is, if someone wants to take me out, you tell me, and, you tell me the time and the place, the street corner you want me to be, and I will be there. Now, the reason is that even though, this is my reasoning, even though I had assured them that I would not, the stakes were so high, I could wipe out the government, that they might not feel that they could rely on my assurances. And I did not want somebody coming on Sunday morning, putting a 12-gauge shotgun through the kitchen window, and they take out not only me, but they get, Mrs. Liddy and one or two of the kids.
Right.
So, look, you want to go that route, just let me know, and we'll go get it done someplace where we don't involve, innocent taxpayers. That's all.
That's amazing. And just parenthetically, I'd like to add that, we're a better place for that having not have happened, but...
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I appreciate your show and your views, and I appreciate your time.
Well, thank you, Michael. Appreciate that very much. And now, something even worse than shooting me. I'm going to shoot you with these crass commercial messages, all of you. But I promise I will be back if God spares me for a few more moments. And let's see what the fax machine has brought us. This is from Joe Mayberry, and he's from Southern Scales in Montgomery, Alabama. And he said, we at Southern Scales are fans of your radio program. We have our radios at the office and in our vehicles tuned in to 1170 so that we can listen to you. I also have a 19-year-old son working out of our Mobile office that is a fan of yours. My son is hardworking, upstanding young man who has struggled with diabetes through his teen years. A message from you would be greatly appreciated. His name is Jason Mayberry. Well, Jason, there's one thing I can tell you. No matter how difficult a situation may be, it can always be overcome. And they are making progress with diabetes these days. And what you just want to do is just decide that either you or diabetes are going to win. And then you decide you're going to win. Diabetes is going to lose. And you just focus on that, and you'll be surprised at the progress you'll make. And you just hang in there, Jason. Okay. Okay, we're going to go back. We're going to now try again the telephones, ladies and gentlemen, because Engineer Dan has been in here with his chewing gum, his rubber bands, and his paper clips. And I think he borrowed a bobby pin from one of the young ladies in the office. And he has attempted to fix the telephones. And so now when we go for Steve, maybe we'll get Steve. Here we go. Steve, is that you?
Greetings.
Hey, he did it. He got it fixed.
I'm here.
All right, Steve. How can I help you, sir?
Oh, I got a couple things for you real quick.
Right.
One is something out of this morning's Indianapolis Star. It's the anti-crime bill that is in front of our state legislature.
Mm-hmm.
And just among the parts that are going to be in the bill, one is broaden the definition of a deadly weapon to include an animal capable of causing serious bodily injury and used in committing a crime. And,
well, let's see. I don't know that you could make it a deadly weapon. You could, I mean, logically, if the animal could kill,
mm-hmm.
Then I suppose you could. If the state of training of the animal and control and discipline was that you could turn it on and off. In other words, go kill them.
Yeah.
There are certain attack animals
mm-hmm.
who are under extraordinary discipline. They will attack and maul and what have you,
yeah.
And can be turned off just like that, bang. Whether or not they are deadly, capable of killing, of course, depends upon the person being attacked.
Mm-hmm.
What you do usually, if you're attacked by a dog, is offer him an arm. He'll take the arm, you pull out your knife right in the heart or
yeah.
cut its throat, and it's all over. If you don't happen to have one, let's say a Doberman Pinscher is racing at you, let it come, get its teeth on the arm, use its own velocity, in other words, fall over backwards, put the other arm behind its head, and then snap its spine, just
yeah.
like that.